Good evening. Welcome to the virtual public information meeting for state project number 301507, the Stamford Transportation Center Escalator and Elevator Modernizations project. My name is Yure Kulgis, and I am the department's design project manager for this project. We appreciate your participation and time to attend this meeting in this venue. We hope by the end of the meeting, you will have a clear understanding of the proposed project. Tonight's agenda include opening remarks by the City of Stamford. Next, I will introduce the project team. We will go over the virtual meeting overview and the Title VI Civil Rights information. Our design consultant, Michael Baker International, will then go over the project overview, project schedule, and passenger impacts and accommodations. Finally, we will have a questions and answers session. So let me start introducing the Bureau Chief of Transportation, Traffic, and Parking from the City of Stamford, James Travers. James?
Hi, and thanks. I am Jim Travers, the Bureau Chief for Transportation, Traffic, and Parking for the City of Stamford. On behalf of the city, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to the Department of Transportation for the continued investment in Stamford. I would be remiss if I did not recognize the considerable investment the state is making in our overall transportation system. The investments in roadway improvement projects, such as the Atlantic Street Bridge Corridor, the Route 1 bridge replacements, or the pavement restoration projects, are all positively impacting our residents and visitors. We look forward to continuing to work with the state on improvements in and around the Transportation Center. We all recognize the importance of the Transportation Center as not only a critical component for mobility for our residents, but as a central hub that welcomes employees and visitors to the city. The continued investment in Stamford is both acknowledged and appreciated by our local officials, residents, visitors, employers, and employees. Thank you again, and the Bureau remains willing to assist in whatever ways possible throughout the project. As a frequent commuter at the Transportation Center myself, I can speak from experience that these improvements will most definitely benefit the thousands of residents and visitors who use the station every day. On behalf of Mayor Martin and the entire administration, thank you again.
Thank you, James. Let me now introduce the project team. On the left side are pictures of the three presenters for tonight's presentation. Starting from the top, that's me, Yure Kulgis. I serve as the design project manager. In the left middle, you see Eric Lloyd. Eric serves as the design project engineer. And in the lower picture is Steven Ivana. Steve is the project manager from Michael Baker International, our design consultant. On the right side, starting from the top, is Richard Jankovic. Richard is the department's rail administrator. John Bernick is the department's assistant rail administrator. Jayantha Mather is the principal engineer from the Office of Rail's design unit. Garrett Bolela from the City of Stamford Transportation, Traffic, and Parking. Marilyn Scheffler from the Federal Transit Administration. And finally, we have David Tudrin. David is the Chief Architect from Michael Baker International. With that, I will turn the presentation over to the project engineer, Eric Lloyd. Eric will go over the virtual meeting overview and the Title VI Civil Rights slides. Eric?
Thank you, Yuri, and good evening, everyone. As Yuri said, my name is Eric Lloyd, and I am the project engineer for this project. I'm going to walk everyone through a few key points about the virtual public information meeting process and just how you can participate during the meeting. Tonight's meeting is live and recorded, and the video will be posted on the Connecticut DOT's website. The moderator may mute participants at any time during tonight's presentation. If you have limited internet access, you can listen to the meeting via telephone by dialing the number shown on the screen. That number is 800-369-1922. When prompted, you will need to enter the participant code 3541879. Now, there are 3 ways that everyone will be able to communicate with the project team tonight. You can send us an email to the address shown on the screen, and that address is dotproject0301-0507@ct.gov. We also have a telephone number you can call where you can leave a voicemail for us. That number is 860-944-1111. Just be sure to reference State Project 0301-0507 at the beginning of your voicemail. Once again, that phone number is 860-944-1111. The last method of communicating with us tonight is the MS Teams live event chat, which we will explain shortly on how you can use. The project team will be reviewing all 3 methods of communication and posting each question into the MS Teams chat log, as well as reading them out loud. We will respond to each question during the Q&A session at the end of tonight's presentation. If you have any additional questions after tonight's meeting, please note that both the project email and telephone number will be available for the next 2 weeks until the public comment period for this project ends on November 11th. To ask a question using the MS Teams live event chat, select Q&A on the right side of the screen. If you are joining us via a smart device, this will be the small chat cloud icon with a question mark in the middle in the upper right corner of your screen. Simply click on the button that says Ask a Question at the bottom of this chat and type your question into the compose box and select Send. If you would like to remain anonymous, please check the box that says Ask Anonymously prior to hitting Send. We here at the Connecticut Department of Transportation are committed to ensuring that no person shall, on the basis of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation or subject to discrimination in the development of this project. The Connecticut Department of Transportation strives to effectively engage all stakeholders in a consultative process from the earliest stages of the project development, and we are always looking for new ways to improve this process. As such, we encourage everyone to participate in a post-meeting survey. Information on how to access this survey is available on our project webpage and will be shown again in longer duration during the question and answer session at the end of this presentation. Now, I'd like to turn the presentation over to Mr. Stephen Iovana from our consultant design team so he can give everyone an overview of our project design.
Thanks, everyone. My name is Stephen Iovana, and I'm an architect with Michael Baker International, and I'd like to go through the project overview. As we mentioned, this project includes the modernization of 17 escalators and 5 elevators. These locations are shown on the attached project overview slide. Elevators 1 through 4 are in the main concourse building and provide access to the train platforms. In addition, elevators 1 and 4 provide access for staff only to a mezzanine level above the concourse, and elevator 1 provides access to the tunnel level of the station. Escalators 1 through 8 provide access from the street level on the north side of the station down to the tunnel level and up to the concourse level. The remaining escalators, 9 through 17, provide access to the various platform locations from both the concourse and the pedestrian bridge at the east end of the station. Also noted on this slide are elevators 5, 6, 8, and 9. These are in the existing parking garage and are not included in the scope of this project. Also, elevator 10 and escalator 18 are at the northeast corner of the station and were newly constructed over the past few years. These are also not included in the scope of this project. As you may know, if you're a frequent user of the station, these elements are older and subject to frequent breakdowns and outages. We will discuss some of the issues and planned improvements in more detail during this presentation, but suffice it to say that these existing elevators and escalators are well past their useful life and need modernization. In general, the elevator modernization will include complete replacement of the majority of elevator finishes and elements. The piston, rails, and structure of the elevator cab will remain and be refurbished. All other elevator components will be replaced with new. For the escalators, the only existing element that will remain is the escalator truss. This is the steel truss that supports all the escalator track, steps, and other elements. With the exception of the truss, all other escalator elements will be replaced with new equipment and parts. This slide shows just some of the photos of the existing elevators, elevator pits, and machine rooms and cab interiors at the station. Stamford Railroad Station handles more pedestrian traffic than any other railroad station in Connecticut. These elevators see nearly constant use, which over time develops wear and tear on finishes, motors, and all the other components that make an elevator safe, smooth, and reliable. Each of these elevators also serve an outdoor location that is exposed to the constant changing and sometimes harsh New England weather, further exacerbating the wear and tear from normal use. Now I'd like to go into a little more detail on the elevators and what will be involved in the modernization process. The elevators being modernized under this project are approximately 20 years old, and as we noted earlier, this is the busiest station in our state, and 20 years of nearly constant use has taken its toll. In addition to frequent breakdowns, the vintage of this equipment makes repairs more difficult, parts harder to find, and does not include many of the modern safety features that will be included as part of our modernization project. Many safety, maintenance, and design guidelines in use today have been developed by an organization called APTA, the American Public Transportation Association. APTA is a nonprofit organization that has many connections in the world of public transportation, but most important to us is the research, knowledge, and expertise they provide in their guidelines to architects and engineers, helping us to design vertical transportation systems that will be as safe as possible, provide the best passenger experience possible, and also limit downtime, limit required maintenance, and plan for equipment that will last well into the future. Our goal is to maximize compliance with the APTA guidelines and include as many of the APTA elements as we can within the restrictions of retaining the existing elevator structures. This slide shows a simplified graphic of a hydraulic elevator, similar to the ones at Stamford Station. The elevator cab sits on top of a piston that is actuated by hydraulic fluid and travels up and down in the shaft. As we noted earlier, the piston, the guide rails that keep the elevator aligned, and the basic structure of the cab will all remain in place and be refurbished to like-new condition. With the exception of the existing elevator shaft, all other elements of the elevator will be replaced with new parts, equipment, and systems. This will include all new cab lighting and finishes, new doors and door controllers, new call buttons and lanterns in the elevators and at all elevator lobbies, and all new motors, controllers, and other equipment that come together to move passengers up and down at the station. So now let's take a look at the escalators. This slide shows some of the photos of the existing escalators, escalator pits, and controllers and the enclosures at the station. Just like our elevators, these escalators are exposed to the highest pedestrian traffic of any railroad station in Connecticut, and this alone over the equipment's lifetime can really break down the parts and equipment that enable these escalators to get station passengers where they need to go. In addition to this, these escalators also see a constant and direct exposure to the sometimes harsh New England weather, furthering wear and tear on the equipment from normal use. Remember that while the elevators do get some downtime between passengers, the escalators at this station are constantly moving. All of this wears on finishes, motors, controllers, and all the parts and pieces that make these escalators safe, smooth, and reliable. As noted on this slide, the escalators being modernized under this project are all between 20 and 37 years old. As you can imagine, 37 years of constant service can take its toll on a piece of equipment. Much like the elevators, the age of these escalators create frequent breakdowns, make needed repairs more difficult, and also make parts harder to find. In addition, there have been a number of safety improvements developed in the last 37 years that will make our modernized escalators much safer for passengers. These include a variety of sensors and safety elements that will stop the escalator in an emergency, or if the system senses any resistance that is not normal, such as a scarf or shoelace becoming lodged somewhere in the system. APTA guidelines also cover escalators, and our goal is to maximize compliance with these guidelines and include as many of the APTA elements as we can within the restrictions of the existing escalator structures. This will make the modernized escalators smoother, safer, and more reliable. In this case, the only existing item of the escalator that will remain is the truss. This steel structure will be refurbished and reinforced as needed to carry the new escalator. All other parts will be completely new. This will include track and steps, motors, controllers, and handrails. The modernized escalators will, of course, include all the current safety systems to improve passenger safety. Now that we have walked through the basics of the elevator and escalator modernizations, let's take a look at the project schedule. We are currently developing our design documents, drawings, and specifications for the work included in the project. Our team includes the project management and oversight team at the Connecticut Department of Transportation, our firm, Michael Baker International, which will be handling architecture and structural engineering, mechanical and electrical engineering by Mott McDonald, plumbing and communications design by Silver Petroselli, and our team also includes Lurch Bates Transit. Lurch Bates is a specialist in vertical transportation and will be handling the specific design of the new elevator and escalator systems. We are scheduled to have our design documents completed in May of next year. After the design documents are completed, the project will go out to public bid, and we expect to have that bidding process completed in September of 2021. After bids are received, the project team, including the DOT, will review bids and award a contract for construction. We anticipate that construction will begin in October 2021 and run through February 2024. As you can see, we're estimating a construction phase of over 2 years. So let's look at the staging and logistics that will be required to modernize all 22 pieces of equipment included in this project. As you can imagine, a great deal of the design and planning for this project will revolve around staging. By staging, I mean the logistics and coordination that will be required to take various pieces of equipment out of service for modernization while still maintaining as much access for passengers in and around the station as possible. In developing the attached plan, we looked at ADA accessibility, which stands for the Americans with Disabilities Act, overall timing for the modernization of each piece of equipment, access to all platforms, and even the train schedules. The attached drawing shows 6 stages, each including the modernization of several pieces of equipment. The biggest challenges for this work will be the outages of elevators 1 through 4. These 4 elevators provide the only ADA access between the station concourse and the platforms. This staging plan takes into account the project schedule, adjacent project schedules, and the various equipment outages required to make this construction process as smooth as possible and to minimize impact on passengers and travelers at the station. We feel that this staging plan, along with the accommodations we'll discuss in the next slide, will limit the inconvenience of escalator and elevator outages at the station. As noted on the previous slide, the biggest challenges for passenger access during this process will revolve around the elevators. They provide the only ADA access from the upper levels of the station to the platforms. To accommodate these outages, we will be providing ADA shuttle services at the station. This service will be provided while elevators 1, 4, and 7 are out of service. So when elevator 1 or 7 are out of service at the south side of the station, a shuttle can transport an individual or small group of people to elevator 4 at the north side, where full ADA access to the concourse and all platforms will still be available. When elevator 4 is out of service, we will provide ADA shuttle service in the opposite direction. Elevators 2 and 3 present an even larger challenge, as they are the only means of ADA access to the center island platforms and can only be accessed from the station concourse. During the outages of these 2 elevators, we will be coordinating with Metro North Railroad to adjust the train schedule at the station. All trains during these outages will be rerouted to the outside platforms, which will be accessible via elevators 1, 4, or 7. The project team and Connecticut DOT will also be providing wayfinding signage throughout the station in advance of each phase of construction to help passengers find an alternate route to their train, parking, the street, or the concourse during outage periods. Safety barricades and signage will be used during equipment modernization to keep passengers safe and help them avoid construction areas. And finally, the project team and Connecticut DOT will provide frequent updates and notifications to passengers before and during construction. This communication will help station users to plan for outages and be aware of potential delays.
Thanks, Steve. So that concludes our presentation. Again, this meeting has been recorded and can be accessed on the project website. Please check the project website to participate in the post-meeting survey pertaining to tonight's event, ask additional questions, or view project plans and information. We are now going to enter the live question and answer session. We will take as many questions as we can. Please feel free to use the Microsoft Teams live chat feature or call us at 860-944-1111 or email us at dotproject0301-0507@ct.gov. The comment period again is open until November 11. And so we will see what we have for questions. Eric?
Thank you, Yuri. As Yuri just said, my name is Eric Lloyd. I am the project engineer, and I will be guiding everyone through the Q&A session tonight. Before we get started, if the questions we are reading out loud are not appearing in the chat window for anyone, clicking back and forth between the tabs at the top right of your screen labeled My Questions and Featured may refresh the chat for you and the questions should show up. A reminder, if you are joining us tonight through a smartphone or a tablet, the chat is accessible by tapping the small cloud icon commonly found in the upper right corner of your screen. With that, I'm going to go ahead and get to our first question. This one looks like it came in through the project email, and it says, how is the project being funded? I'm going to go ahead and turn that over to our project manager, Yuri Kulgis.
Thank you, Eric. So that's a good question. Thank you for the question. So the project is being funded with federal funds and state funds. The federal funds are from a build grant from the FTA. That's the Federal Transit Administration. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Yuri. Looks like we have another question that came in through the project phone line. This one says, will the train schedule change during the construction of this project? I'm going to go ahead and give that question over to our consultant designer over at Michael Baker International, Steve Iovana. Steve?
Thanks, Eric. That's a good question. And the answer is no. The schedule will not change during the project. However, we may be rerouting trains to different tracks to make sure that we can maintain access throughout the projects. And we'll be coordinating that, of course, with Metro North and Amtrak, and we'll be notifying the public well in advance so that they will be aware of these changes.
All right, thank you, Steve. Looks like we have another question coming out of the chat room. It looks like it's going to be, are there any other plans for upgrading the station? I'm going to kick that one over to our manager in the Office of Rail, John Bernick.
Hi, and good evening. Connecticut DOT is initiating a study to look at the station as a whole. The project that we're presenting tonight really is to address the immediate need of the elevators and escalators that were not reliable at all, and we didn't want to wait for a larger project to get these done. But the study that we're undertaking will look at how not only passengers flow in and out of the station, what sort of amenities are available at the station, making the station more open, more modern, more friendly, and to address issues related to the other mechanical systems like the air conditioning and the heating, the building envelope, leaks, and just sort of general state of good repair, things like that. And also to look at the way cars and the shuttles, the many shuttle services and buses that operate through the station operate to make it a smoother flow for people, the great many people that transit the station every day to work in and around Stamford. Then projects based on that study there'll be recommendations for follow-on projects, but we really want to look at the station as a whole first.
All right, thank you, John. While we wait for more questions to come in, I'm just gonna go ahead and take the time to remind everyone that you can also use the phone line to call in your questions. That phone number is 860-944-1111. Just be sure to reference the project number 0301-0507 at the beginning of your message. Also available to use is the project email, which I'm going to go ahead and post into the chat room real quick, just so you can actually click on it instead of having to go hunt it down. Now, what you can do is please feel free to email us any questions you have directly to that project email, and then we will go ahead and get those into the chat for everyone to see, and then we can go and direct those and answer those your questions as they come in. Looks like we have another one that just came in. I'm going to read this one. It says, how can I learn more about the project? Well, I'm going to go ahead and kick that over to project manager Yuri Kulgis.
Thank you, Eric. Yeah, and that's our best way to get more information about the project will be our webpage, which right now we're sharing. That with everyone who's joining us through the MS Chat, they could actually see that. But everyone who's listening to us, that's our web page for the actual project. That's portal.ct.gov/DOT Stamford 0301-0507. And in that website, you will have plans, you have links, all the information should be there. And if you have any other questions, as Eric mentioned, please feel free to send us an email or call us, leave us a voicemail, and we will respond with any questions you may have. Okay, thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Yuri. We actually got another question in. This one says, will the project impact my commute to New York? If I could turn this over to Steve Iovana over at Michael Baker International.
Thanks again, Eric. This project will not impact your commute to New York. Although with the construction going on and the outages that will be required to replace various pieces of equipment, we are advising passengers to be prepared, provide, get there with some extra time and be on the lookout for notifications from DOT about outages and ongoing construction schedule track changes, but it will not affect your commute to New York.
Thank you, Steve. I'll actually take the time to iterate a little bit further on that one. It's just that the public notifications will be made in advance of any disruptions to our commuters at the station. Our plan is to provide signage at all key points of egress. We're talking about written notifications at all entrances and exits to the station. We're even going to be putting graphics up that will visually identify closed portions of our station, along with alternative pathways and methods of egress. If you have any recommendations for how we could better keep you informed of any disruptions, please let us know using any of the 3 available methods for communicating with us tonight. Also, I can talk about, we here at the department, we take public safety very seriously, as well as compliance with all ADA guidelines and building code. Although the main goal of this project is to replace and upgrade deficient equipment, it is placed at top priority that ADA access is maintained throughout all phases of this project, and that at all times the station is kept a safe environment for all of our commuters as well as our workers. So let's see here. So it looks like there may be no more questions coming in, but we're going to go ahead and wait another 20 seconds or so to see if we have any coming in last minute. Just want to reiterate with everyone that you have available to you the project phone number, which is 860-944-1111. Please call in, reference the project number, and let us know any questions you might have. We also have available the project email, which is shown on the screen. That's dotproject03001-0507@ct.gov. We also have the Teams chat window. Please go ahead and type in any questions you might have. We would like to take this opportunity to ask everyone, if they have the time, please help us improve this process by participating in the post-meeting survey. We're going to go ahead and post this in the chat for you as well.
And Eric, while you do that, there has been it's a comment, not an actual question, but it just says thank you for all your work on this. The department also would like to thank all of you because this is a challenging project. We're trying to minimize the disruption to the station. It is challenging, and we thank you, all of you. We are trying to do the best that we can. And again, we minimize the disruption, to all the commuters, to the city. So thank you for the comment.
Yes, thank you, Yuri, and thank you to everyone who's participating in this meeting as well. As you can see, I just posted the link to the post-meeting survey in the Teams chat. If you'd like to click on that, if you have the time, and if you are watching us through the YouTube channel, you can find it in the description field just below the video itself. You may need to click on the description to get it to show up and see more in detail. We would like to hear from everyone and get your thoughts on how this presentation went or how we can improve for future projects. So if you have the time, please go ahead and take the post-meeting survey and honestly, just let us know what you think. If you do think you have any questions, even after this meeting has ended, please know that the project email and phone line are both going to be active for another 2 weeks beyond this meeting date. The public comment period does close out on November 11th, but we will still take your questions and comments if you end up thinking up of any after this meeting's over. So it doesn't look like I see any more questions coming in. So as no more questions or comments are coming in, I guess this will conclude tonight's virtual public information meeting for the Stamford Station Elevator and Escalator Replacements Project. We would like to thank everyone who took the time out of their day to view or listen in on our presentation tonight. Be safe and enjoy the rest of your evening.